ladies, are you looking for a job with no pay that's 24/7 hours? There's many bosses that have lots of demands, and those demands change pretty frequently, and usually you get screamed at every day. Well, I've got the perfect job for you. It's being a stay-at-home mom.
Let's get into that. Hey everybody, I'm Nate Warnock.
I'm Andrea Warnock.
And this is Family Friday here on the Marriage by Design podcast. This is a show that we get to do every Friday where we talk about God's design for family as revealed in His Word and how we can best live out that design for family in our families.
Yeah. So today we're talking about the stay-at-home mom journey. So I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Me too.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm not.
So I started that journey 5 years ago for us, and we just kind of wanted to talk about that, what that looked like for us, how we lived that out, some pros and cons, the journey along the way, some things that I've learned, and then some kind of really interesting information.
We've realized over time of talking to people that this whole decision to be a stay-at-home mom.
I know there's stay-at-home parents, which is great, but the experience we have is me. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so
right.
Stay-at-home dads. Yeah, stay-at-home dads are cool too.
Yeah, and really the things that you're going to talk about for the most part would apply whether it's a stay-at-home mom situation or a stay-at-home dad situation. So no hate on the dads that are staying home. That's, God bless you, because that would not go well. But we get a lot of questions from people about, well, what does it look like to be a stay-at-home mom, or how did you know that was what you were called to do? Is every woman called to do this, or every man? Is it every person's situation where one of the parents should be staying home with the kids? We get lots of those kinds of questions, so thought we would address that with a Family Friday, which we're going to do
right now. Yes,
this very moment.
Right. So I thought we'd just start off with our story into the world of being a stay-at-home mom. So it started back. I had Jackson in 2010 and felt no desire to stay home. I had worked for a long time for a company that I had grown with a lot, and I really loved working there. I had gotten into management and enjoyed that, so I loved the career path that I was taking. And
sure.
And with Jackson, things were a little bit different because I dealt with a lot of postpartum depression after him and really struggled to connect with him. So there wasn't this, I loved him for sure, but there wasn't this desperation to stay home with them or this feeling like I was missing out on a lot.
We should totally do an episode on postpartum depression.
I know,
as a side note.
It's on the list.
Yeah.
Loved him, loved spending time with him, but just felt no need to stay home with him or calling or anything. And when we had him, Nathan was an attorney, so he was making a good income, and that was great. Okay, so then that was 2010. Then in 2013...
I'm still an attorney as a note. Okay. I'm not a practicing attorney. I'm a toilet attorney.
Yeah, he's a toilet attorney.
It's fine. I debrief toilets and...
Right.
It's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
So that was 2010 when we had Jackson. Then in 2013, Nathan decided, this attorney thing, I'm going to jump ship on that, and I'm going to sell cleaning.
Right. The whole attorney thing, it's overrated.
Right.
There's hardly any schooling.
He likes toilets better than courtrooms.
There's no doubt. Have you seen just the white of the porcelain?
No, in 2013, we made the decision together.
We did.
And it was actually the first decision that we had ever made together that we had prayed about together, and we really felt like, this was what God was calling us to.
Yeah.
So we made the decision together that he would go work with his parents and go to business with his parents with a commercial cleaning company.
right
that they have. So that meant he got to cut his salary by like 65%, and we were living on a hope and a prayer.
We were.
So thankfully I still had my full-time income at that point, but he slashed his income an enormous amount at that point.
At first.
Right, at first. And it was all just kind of unknown.
Right.
Where it was going to go, if it was going to go really anywhere. Thankfully he had this attorney thing to fall back on if it failed or wasn't going well, but that was a huge leap of faith too. And so that was 2013. Then in 2014, I got pregnant with Ryan, and we had her in April of 2015. Well, about the moment that I had her, I was wrecked to think of going back to work. So my mom heart just completely changed with having Ryan. It changed in how I viewed Jackson, and certainly how I viewed Ryan. I just totally was changed with having her. It's funny, it's taken a girl for me to see a lot of things different, like having a girl to see a lot of things differently.
It's fine. You're sexist, so it's fine. You're on the record. There's a video. It's now on the internet. Everyone knows. That's
funny. That's not true.
It's fine. Me too.
But it's funny. I've heard a lot of my friends say it's actually their boys that change them that way. So it's just funny how it's different for different people. So immediately I was like, I can't go back to work, and I was wrecked.
That was at some dark times.
Do you remember
around
that?
this house. Oh yeah.
The day we so I couldn't just quit my job right away. First of all, we weren't making as much as we had been a few years ago, and we had looked at the budget a lot and thought, I just don't see any way that it's going to happen, that can happen. But Nathan said, I will commit to you that we will figure it out and we will make it happen. It just can't be right away, right this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally agreed, but I was wrecked over that. So the day that we dropped her off at daycare at 12 weeks after I had her, I spent the whole day just bawling, pretty much. It was awful. It was really hard. Do you remember that too?
Yes. You actually have a lot of crying stories with regards to Ryan. I mean, so fast forward. Ryan will be going to sort of her kindergarten roundup. Actually, today, the day this video comes out.
We do this collaborative school where our kids go to school 2 days a week, and then we homeschool the other 3 days.
Right. So, side note: as you're watching this video, there's a decent chance Andrea is crying somewhere in the world about Ryan going to kindergarten.
Yes.
So anyway, that's a side note. So go ahead.
It's hard for me.
Yes, I do remember that day. I did go with you when we put her in the nursery at the preschool that Jackson was at.
Yes.
Or daycare, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, it was awful. And so we started really trying to plan for and figure out how to get me out of the workplace. So 9 months after she was born, I guess about 6 or 7 months after she was born, I went to back up even further. So we had been praying a lot. Yeah, we had been
way back
praying a lot and looking at the budget a lot. And really we came to a point where we knew God was calling me out of the workplace, but it didn't work on paper financially. It just didn't work. But we knew God was calling me out. And so we just said, okay, we're just going to step out in faith and do this. And so I had been praying a lot about all that and praying about the conversation I was going to have with my boss and all that. So about 6 months after she was born, I went to my boss, the owner of the company that I worked for, and said, I really need to stay home with my kids. I know that's what I'm being called to do by the Lord and all that. And I had prayed like that God would confirm my decision by what my boss said to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something like, we're really going to miss you here or whatever, whatever. But I think that's the best place for a mom to be, is at home with her kids. Yeah. And I was like,
really supportive.
Oh, confirmation. Yeah, totally supportive.
Yeah.
And so then when she was about 9 months old, I left my full-time job and stayed home. And again, it was a huge leap of faith, but God has always provided.
Mm-hmm.
Always. We've never been in need ever. So
right.
Even though it didn't work out on paper, God always provided what we needed. And it's been amazing to watch. So we knew that's what we were called to do, and we stepped out in faith and did it, and he's been so good to us.
Right. So the progression sort of was, you were very successful at your job, worked really hard, worked your way up the company to a kind of executive management sort of role with the company, and had kind of always said, even after we had Jackson, staying at home is just probably not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of advanced, the Lord sort of advanced your heart on that to where you're like, okay, well, maybe there's a possibility. And then it was, this is something I really need to do. And then after that, it was like, but I don't feel like I'm called to homeschool the kids.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes. So from the beginning of our marriage, probably, Nathan had said, I'd really love if our kids could be homeschooled. And I'm like, no. Nope. No. That is totally not me. School is a great thing to, like, get your kids out and get them into school, and then I get some of my time back, No. Not doing the homeschooling thing. Lord, please don't ever call me into the homeschooling thing. Is kind of the way it was going for a long time. And then at some point around when I stopped working, I started feeling like, I'm feeling like maybe we should be homeschooling. And I was like, what is going on with me? What is wrong with me? Now I'm doing the stay-at-home mom thing, and now I'm feeling like, oh, maybe we should be homeschooling. And Jackson, the year that I started staying home, that fall, Jackson, in February of 2015 is when I started staying home. And that fall, he was going to start kindergarten, I think, right? Or was it the next fall?
That's right, because that's when we took that.
I know.
That little.
Well, it was either that fall or the next fall. Anyway.
No, it was that fall. I'm sure of it.
I was totally in a different space. Like, I want to spend all this time with Jackson. I don't want him going to school and not being able to spend that time with him and not having him around. And that was just such a departure from where I had been at previously, where I'm like, 5-day-a-week school is great. They should go so I can do my own thing, So yeah, things were totally changing in my heart, and to wanting to stay at home and wanting to possibly homeschool. So we kind of stepped out in faith in that too. So, and knew that the Lord was calling us to homeschooling.
Right.
Where did you feel like you were at with, okay, now I'm going to needing to, I still worked, my company still allowed me to work a little bit part-time from home.
Which was a huge blessing.
It was.
In sort of making the transition to one income easier.
Right. So we still had a little bit of income for me for a few years after that. But Nathan was pretty much the sole breadwinner.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I mean, it didn't bother me. I mean,
It wasn't stressful for you?
From early on. Well, part of it is, and this bleeds into other episodes probably that we've either have done or should do in the future. But, I'm not. You are much more sensitive to the money side of things than I am, and. You and I used to talk quite a bit that I thought for a long time that we could probably make one income work, and you were like, there's no way this is gonna work. And sure, on paper, probably it didn't all line up, just maybe the way we would like it. But it's hard when you have someone who works on a commission job to find a realistic budget number for income due. And so we would use a really conservative number and be like, well, yeah, this doesn't work. If I make sort of the minimum, then yeah, this is going to be a problem. But again, praise the Lord that He's provided clients for me to go hunt down and allowed our business to grow. And so, from the beginning, my mom stayed home with us when I was growing up, and so I always really cherished that and really wanted that for our kids. Right. And praise the Lord that He brought the pieces together to to lead your heart that direction.
Yeah. So it was a really cool transformation to look back on in how God had changed my heart over the years, and also how God really just made it work, and the little, what felt like miracles of just the things that fell into place.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's cool. And then I became a stay-at-home mom, and now I've been doing it for 5 years. And so there's tons of upsides to doing the stay-at-home mom thing. One of them that I never thought of until my sister-in-law was saying something about it, and she said that the upsides of having one parent home is that things like trying to come home and get like the whole dinner thing done when you're all just coming home all at once, and it's later in the day and there's nothing been started on dinner or laundry or whatever, and all that isn't just coming together right then, and it takes a long time to put together. Just somebody managing the home.
Yeah.
They've realized that it's so helpful for the one that's working.
Totally.
To be able to not have to worry about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's one side that I had never thought of. But something that I've found for my kids is, for Jackson, he remembers going to daycare and all that. And while he enjoyed it, he never felt totally at home at those places, of course. So he has said he just feels more at home or more security with being at home all the time,
And for us as parents, I think that there's more, obviously more security as well. He went to a Christian preschool, daycare, whatever you want to call it, and even that, there were some things going on there that we were like, okay, what?
Right.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah. So one thing we love is that security for our kids. I love not having to do the morning rush or the evening rush. That morning rush of like, gotta get up, everybody's gotta get up and get dressed and get breakfast and get going so that we can get the kids dropped off and then get to work on time. Every single morning always felt stressful because, kids never want to rush. They never want to go anywhere fast, especially when you want them to.
Right.
I hated the morning rush. So that's a great thing about staying at home. I get to experience all of their milestones. Nathan misses out on a bunch of them because he works. Darn it for you. But I get to experience all of those milestones, like walking and talking, and just all of that is amazing to be around and seeing them really inch along in their growing up.
And I would say a benefit for me as the working parent is there's so much technology now, guys, to be able to send videos and send text messages and audio files and all that stuff just through apps on our phones that, you include me in a lot of those things just by taking pictures or sending me a text to let me know what's going on. And I know there are a lot of daycares that have cameras set up or whatever that you can watch your kids, but you have a vested interest in sharing those things with me. So even though I'm not there, actually experiencing these milestones, I feel like having you there allows me to take part in some of them.
Right. Yeah, and then what I feel like 99% of people say, older people who don't have kids in their house anymore, say is, oh, this goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Soak it up, or, take advantage of the time when they're young. It goes by so fast. I feel like the growing up process gets slowed down some because I get to be around them all the time. That slowing down is so great because I get to really be around them. Sometimes that's not a great thing, but
I was just gonna say,
yeah,
this could probably be on the downsides too.
It totally could be, but that whole it goes by so fast seems to not go by as quickly because I'm witnessing every day.
Yeah, that's great.
I loved having no boss. That was one thing that the first week that I was staying home back in 2015, I remember thinking, gosh, it's so nice to not have a boss and just be able to do what I want when I want. Like I don't report to anybody. I loved that part. I still probably like that part.
I'm actually the boss.
Yeah, right. No,
I'm the boss. We have quarterly reviews.
Whatever. Then, experiencing life and the world through my kids is so fun. And taking outings to the zoo and kind of seeing it the way they see it, or whatever we're doing, or wherever we're going, or even if we're just staying at home, just seeing life through their eyes or through the way they experience it is really cool. It's amazing.
Right.
We're able to rest a lot more. And I don't mean that life with kids is restful because it's not. But we're able to chill out, not be in a rush to go here or go there or get something done or whatever, but really just be able to hang out and not have to have a rush.
Yeah,
and that's
totally
what I mean by rest.
Yep.
And then one thing that I've loved is it seems like we have a lot less sickness, with being around a lot of other kids. There's always a cold here and there, and or the flu or something. I don't know. So we have a lot less sickness. That's an upside,
I think,
for sure.
Yeah,
seems like it.
Yeah, could
but
be.
There are also some.
And probably if we do get sick, I'm probably the one bringing it.
Yes, it's true.
Because I'm the one out.
He's the one out and about.
And also, I'm the boss. So.
But there are some hard things about staying at home too.
Sure.
You have less income. Keeping the house picked up and clean is like impossible. And if you have some really great tips for that, that'd be great. Because as my kids get older, 3 and above, it becomes a little bit easier because they can have more responsibility for taking care of the things that they're messing up. And you can say to them, like, go do your own thing for a little while. And I'm going to do my own thing for a little while.
Yep.
But with a baby constantly around, because we seem to always have babies around, it is so incredibly hard to get much of anything done. I hate that. That is definitely a really hard thing about staying at home. And you don't have, like, everybody, whereas when you go to work and you have the kids go to daycare, your house gets left the way it was when you left. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. But when you're here, it's getting messed up all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and you actually just did, so if you have a number of kiddos at home, Andrea actually did a video with a friend a month or so ago about managing a large family.
Yep.
And so I will link to that here so that you can check that out, because there's a lot of good, like, little large family hacks that, if you are a stay-at-home mom or you're considering going down that road, some of those might be beneficial for you.
Sure. And so I really loved those lunch dates while I was working, going to lunch with friends that worked kind of close to me or not close, or friends at the office or whatever, and those are like few and far between when you are a stay-at-home parent, and that can be rough, having kid conversations all day every day and not having those adult interactions, but you sort of learn to live with that too.
Yeah. I would say you do a really good job of just having friends over, like, with their kids, right?
That's a fun thing.
You're not getting away from the kids, but you're getting adult interaction
Playdates
time,
are fun.
which addresses the next one you have as well.
Yeah, I don't get to use a lot of brain power. So something that I still struggle with is I am busy. Like, being a stay-at-home mom is busy,
no doubt.
But there's not a lot of brain power that's used, so I feel like my brain is sort of melting every day more and more.
Wow.
Because it's just, I don't know. There's not much to use. So that's been a difficulty.
Yeah. Particularly.
That's been a difficulty that that there's also outlets for that too, doing some volunteer work for somewhere or whatever. So and I feel like I'm constantly failing. I think that's something that is, I don't know.
That's a personality
it's something that follows
thing for you,
me.
though.
Yes, I feel like, I can't keep the house up like I really want to, and I don't spend enough quality. I feel like I don't spend enough quality time with all my kids like I want to, and keeping up with emails and mail and paperwork is really difficult. And if I'm doing that, then I'm not spending enough,
Adulting.
So like that, yes. So feeling like I'm not doing well in anything can be difficult too. But
it's not true though. I mean, that is a personality thing. She does an amazing job.
Well,
and I've heard this from lots of stay-at-home moms via talking to you. Like, this is a common
totally
stay-at-home mom thing. So this is something that we, as working husbands, or if it's your husband that stays at home, you as a working woman can really play a key role in ministering to our spouse by thanking them for all that they do and pointing out what an amazing job they do and those type of things, because I know that's something you struggle with. That you feel like you just don't do it all. And of course you can't do it all,
right?
But you do an amazing job with what you do, so.
Right. But nap time is great. If you have kids that nap, or kids that don't and doing quiet time instead, nap time, quiet time is a really great part of the day, because number one, I love naps.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't help with the things you want to get done.
But being a stay-at-home mom, you get to nap during the day sometimes. So occasionally I get a nap in, which is amazing. Or you can get some of these adulting things done too. So there's a downside, but that's a real big upside too. And I say all these upsides and downsides for people who are maybe thinking, I'd love to be a stay-at-home mom, and what's that really like? Or people who are stay-at-home moms and they're like, man, I feel like I'm failing at this or not doing it right or whatever. We all have struggles in that world.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so then I thought I'd talk about some really interesting statistics. So I came across this article that talked about some statistics with stay-at-home moms, and I tried to find more, but there's not really a whole lot out there. I don't know, we're not a group of people that are very interesting to research maybe, but okay, so
you don't have time to answer the phone to answer questions. You're too busy being a stay-at-home mom.
But there's too much yelling in the background and you can't hear
the
answers. Okay, so 29% of moms stay home right now. Whereas
is that right? That is way higher than I would have guessed.
Really? Whereas in 1967, that number was 49%. So the Leave It to Beaver era, we had 49%, nearly half of all moms were stay at home.
Wow.
And now it's 29%, which is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. A recent study of 69,000 children showed that for those that had a stay-at-home parent, there was an increase in school performance, even all the way up through high school.
Wow.
And then 2 studies found that children that spend a large amount of their day in daycare have higher stress levels and aggression as opposed to those that stay home.
Makes sense.
And then stay-at-home, the other last statistic is stay-at-home moms, so more women, so 6% more women that are stay-at-home moms report having more depression, anger, and sadness than those that work outside the home. So
they report having more depression?
Yeah, there's
really?
a 6% difference, of those of stay-at-home moms that report having those sorts of issues as opposed to...
I suppose that probably makes sense. You feel isolated. And
right. Yeah, so it's a
super thankless job.
Of course. Well, yes.
No, it is. I mean, it is. I mean, the kids, none of maybe our kids are worse than everybody watching this video, but I feel like they have no appreciation for the sacrifice you make to stay at home, and probably can't. I mean, I didn't when I was a kid until now.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's a really interesting statistic. It's not really as high as I would have thought it would have been a higher percentage. There's only a 6% increase. But it's to say, too, that there is an increase, and so it's something to really watch out for and
So
be careful of.
that percentage, is that 6% higher than moms working outside the home, or 6% higher than women working outside the home?
It was moms working outside the home.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's still, I'm trying to remember, it may have been like 49% of moms working outside the home reported higher levels of anger, depression, and sadness.
Huh. Okay.
And then 55%. I think that might have been it. Anyway.
Interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, go ahead.
No. Well, I was just going to say, so if someone's watching this and they're thinking like, okay, I'm thinking maybe about staying at home, what do you do?
Right. So steps? Perfect, because that's what I was going to say too. First of all, pray. I feel like that's my answer for everything.
Sure. It was God.
Yeah. The best thing you could do on any decision that you're thinking about is to pray about it, right?
As a couple.
And pray about it, with your spouse. And ask your spouse to be praying about that individually, too.
Totally.
That was a huge thing for us to come together on, really. For us to really unite together on that was cool, in prayer and in just having discussions about it.
Yep.
It was amazing for me, too, to have Nathan say, I know that that's a desire of your heart. It's totally something that I desire, too, and we'll make it happen. Even though when I wanted it couldn't be right away, but he was like, yeah, we'll make it happen. I so appreciated that when that happened. So pray a lot about that together with your spouse, and then also separately. Ask for the Lord's direction in that. Ask for the Lord to give you trust in Him, in the timing, and in your husband's heart in that, and also in the finances, if that's something that you might feel like it would be a struggle. And then, I don't know, the steps are going to be different, but a lot of prayer to start off with. And then maybe your transition into being a stay-at-home mom is kind of slow, with maybe you have a part-time job at first and you're working nights and weekends, and
it's good.
And that can give you a little bit of a buffer for a while until you see how the finances play out, and then at some point maybe you can quit full-time. But
yeah, I think that's great.
But
that's great. Do a budget, a realistic budget.
Right.
If you don't already, I mean, we're huge budget people, so we've talked about that before. But if you don't do one, you're going to want to do one before you make that decision. Part
of my fear with doing the stay-home mom thing was, what if when my kids are older, like in high school, and I want to jump back into the working world, what if I'm not hireable because I've missed out on so much that has changed in those however many years, and I will have nothing on my resume, and maybe I will be unhireable. And I felt like the Lord was just speaking to me that, like, do you trust me?
It's good.
You don't know what your future is going to look like. You don't know where you'll be at down the road. And can you trust me that I will work out that time when that time comes?
God knew that I'd have a job at the toilet cleaning company just for you.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course.
It's just for you, babe. Anytime you want it, it's great. French maid outfit and everything.
Yeah.
For you.
Great. That's, wow. All right. We just revealed a little too much. So, we kind of wanted to give you a look into our story and the cool things that God did in our life, and talk a little bit about the realities of the stay-at-home mom thing.
Yeah. Do you have any, if someone's watching this and they are a stay-at-home mom, any words of advice for them? Maybe a newer stay-at-home mom, or, whatever. I mean,
find a lot of friends.
I was just going to say, my biggest one, I really thought of that, depression and anger and sadness. And I read those things that people were claiming they had, and it reminds me of what a lot of people who are isolated feel.
Right.
And so I do think when you're a stay-at-home parent, you have to work harder at getting your people around you.
Right.
Because a lot of people are working.
Yeah.
So
there's 29% of moms that are staying home. So there's moms out there who are doing the same thing that you are. But I would really encourage you to find friends that you can do life with and be real with.
Yep.
So so it's great to have friends that you get together with occasionally where your kids just play and you kind of talk about a few things, but have a couple of friends that you can get together with frequently and really go deep with each other.
That's right.
I think that's vitally important. I have a friend that I get together with almost every week, and she and I are super close, and our kids play, and we hang out with the kids, but then we also get to talk about a lot of deep things, when we want to, and that's been huge for me, and I love that friendship, and it's great. So I would really encourage you to find friends, either, there's MOPS groups that you can join, or look into community Bible study, or maybe your church, or I don't know. There's a lot of ways that you can reach out.
Sure. Facebook groups.
Right.
A lot of local communities have stay-at-home mom Facebook groups, stay-at-home parent Facebook groups.
My daughter is in dance class. She takes dance in the middle of the day during the weekday. So the moms that are taking those girls at that point are obviously stay-at-home moms, at least on the day that she goes.
Sure.
And one of the moms approached me after class and just said, "Hey, I'm Hannah's mom, and she really loves your daughter Ryan, and could we get together sometime and have a play date?" And I was so impressed with her boldness in just saying, "Hey, can we get together sometime?" That's a great way too. Like,
it is a great way to do it.
If your kids are doing some activity and there's other moms around, be bold and just say, "Hey, can we have a play date? Our kids love playing together."
It's good.
You never
really
know.
Good,
you never know what that'll lead to.
It's great.
Yeah. So thanks for being supportive in my stay-at-home mom journey.
Sure.
Thanks for...
Yeah, you get to be the boss. It's great.
Yes.
I'm not actually the boss. God's the boss.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Thanks
like to
for
joke
supporting
about
them.
being the boss. You're welcome.
Yep.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed our journey story, and I don't know, got something out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Remember, every Friday, we have Family Friday here on the podcast. Every Monday, Marriage Monday. And then on Sundays, we do Sunday Night Live, where we answer your questions, talk about the shows of the week, have a good time for a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. So hopefully we will see you there. Until then, guys, thanks so much for joining us. And remember, God is for your family. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Marriage by Design. If you were impacted by this video, like it by hitting the thumbs up below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and once you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when new episodes release.
Excellent. Also, one of the huge pillars of our show is interactivity between us and you. So we would love you to comment down in the comments below if you have thoughts about this video, or if you have questions or other things you'd like to see considered in the future. In addition, if you'd like, you can email us. That's marriagebydesignpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram @marriagebydesignpodcast, or you can find us on Facebook by searching Marriage by Design Podcast. Finally, if you want to, you can tweet at us. We do have a Twitter account that is @MarriageXDesign. Thanks, and have a great day.